Really. Happy Memorial Day weekend coming up. Happy Memorial Day weekend coming up. I'm sure you have big plans. Everybody's going to Art's house.
And speaking of big plans, Bob Condotta, Seattle Times, why don't you get us started?
Okay, thanks. Well, hey, Pete, can you tell us, I guess, we've heard a lot of different things about who's all out there, who you have all out there, and what you guys are doing right now?
Yeah, we've got just under 40 guys, now 35 guys or something like that are working here. The guys that have come in this time of year from the rookie class primarily, and we're catching those guys up so that when we get to camp, those guys can hold their own. We have guys working out all over the country, and we guys here working out locally that are doing their stuff. But these are the guys that are getting the work on the field right now. We meet 4 days a week virtually and with our team, and we're making terrific progress, and things are moving along.
Jen?
What have you seen from the rookies from the last time that they were on the field just a few weeks ago? Are they picking it up the way you anticipated?
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised how sharp they are and how far along they've already come. I mean, I've made the comment to them again today as we broke for the weekend that they're working really hard. They're really diligent about it. It matters to these guys, obviously, because they're putting in the time, and they're able to bring it from the meeting room, to the field. So we're making good progress, and so they'll be, like I said, they're going to be caught up when we come together. I told the team that in our Zoom meeting today that they're going to be surprised how far along these guys have come. So it's a good group.
Joe?
Hey, Pete, I was just curious, is it concerning at all to you that your three division rivals have pretty much their entire rosters here working out? You guys are doing the virtual thing. How do you kind of manage what you're seeing elsewhere around the league and then what's happening in your building and the decision your players made?
Yeah, I don't manage anything what's going on around the rest of the league. We're just doing what's best for us and what our guys need to do. And we're, like I've told you, we're making terrific progress. We've been here before with what we can get done in virtual, and it's going great. And our guys are dedicated and working their butts off everywhere, all over the place. And we don't have that many guys living in the area, so it's a little bit more of a challenge to get guys in here early in the off season. But other than that, whatever they're doing, they're doing. I don't know, what their workload's like, or I don't know what their mentality's like in other places. I wouldn't know that.
So I guess there's nothing that bothers you about your guys and the decision they made to say, hey, we're not going to come be a part of what's happening?
I support these guys. I support the decision that we made.
Greg Bell, Tacoma News Tribune.
Hi, Pete. I'm assuming Russell Wilson's not there, and I'm assuming that Geno Smith's not there. So what quarterback do you have, and what progress are you making in depth on that front?
Yeah, really, we got a couple guys in here that are doing a nice job. Alex Magoo's done a really nice job, and fired up that he's doing it. Danny's doing his job too. These are the guys that we've had in the past. Danny had a good year with us last year, and those two guys are competing like crazy, so they're battling. And I know Russ and Gino; those guys are working out hard, working out with our players when they get their chances to do that. Russ has had a number of guys come visit and work out down where he is in San Diego, and so the quarterback position for us is very competitive. This is a really cool time for these guys learning the offense, learning Shane, and picking up on the stuff that we've done that we've adapted, and it's a fun challenge for these guys, and they're taking it to heart.
Is this almost in a weird way a good year to be on Zoom to get into the eaches of a new system rather than practicing it and putting it to use right away?
I don't know that it's any better, but I do know that we have found a rhythm in our Zoom meetings and in the communication that we've done. That if you remember last year, I was concerned because I didn't know what the result would be until we saw what the result was, and we thought we made more progress that way last year than we had in years past, and so I'm counting on that again. And so I don't know that it's better. I wouldn't think that, but I know it's a good way to go, and it really does accentuate the communication part of it. And and that interaction has really worked out well. You'd be surprised at how live it feels to guys when they're going through their sequences and they're going through all of the situations that we put them in, and all of the communications that they have to make. Everybody's really held accountable for it. Our guys are giving their own presentations kind of weekly for different aspects of the installation. So they're called on to have to prepare to do that as units. And so all in all, the coaches have made it very creative and very interactive, and the reaction and the response has been great.
When you say your guy, you mean players or the coaches?
The players are called on to do that as well as the coaches, and it's that you'd be surprised at the lengths they go to win the competitions that they're up against, and been some pretty well choreographed presentations.
Corbin?
Hey, Pete, you guys recently signed Nick Gugamos, and you had a chance to coach his father with the Vikings back in the late 80s. So I guess my first question for you, what do you remember from your time coaching Neil in Minnesota, and what stood out about Nick to have him sign? He hasn't played football since 2018.
Yeah, going back to Neil, I remember him clearly. Where we had workouts, and then we got a chance to sign him and put him out there, and he held his own. He's a really good athlete. He ran really well, real bright kid, and I mean, he's an old man now, but he was a kid at the time. Small college guy that came in with a chip on his shoulder, wanted to prove something, and did a nice job and spent a couple years with us. To get his son Nick out here, I just kind of guessed that how many Gugamoses can there be, and sure enough, Pops, was back with the Vikes in the day, but he's done a nice job. He did a nice job in a couple of workouts that our scouts had seen, and then when we brought him in here for a workout, he really did well, and so we thought he deserved a chance to be part of this, and it's a very competitive position for us, and he's done a nice job. He has not played a lot of football. Matter of fact, we showed some highlights of him, and the highlights we had were from practice. So that's what we pull out of his college days. So it's an interesting story.
Johnny Boyle?
Oh, got a Johnny now, huh?
Johnny. What's up, Johnny?
Pete,
What do you got for us, Johnny? Sorry.
Deshaun Shedd was a player you've always spoke really highly of when he was here playing for you. What made you want to bring him in as a coach, and what does he bring to your staff?
Well, we've stayed in contact, for a couple of years here, and he's always been one of our favorite guys because he's just one of the most true blue guys we've ever seen in the program. Hardworking, dedicated, smart, creative, tough. I mean, he had all of the elements that that we love in the program. Big chip on his shoulder, had to always prove it, so. We just kept in contact, and I talked to him a few years back. That if you're ever thinking about, let's talk. There'll be a conversation waiting for you. And he went into the I think computer sales business and just kicked butt and became one of the top salespersons in his organization in 18 months or something like that. Which then when I hear that story, I go, well, of course, that's what Shedd would do, and so as we talked about it, and as this season was approaching, we talked last year about the upcoming this year, and so we just stayed with it, and we brought into this program just an extraordinary competitor. A guy with character and integrity and toughness and smarts and all that. And I mean, you can't get enough guys like that around the program. He interestingly, he's carried over our football, and he has retained it and maintains a really good command of what we did and the techniques of the cornerback position in particular, as well as the safety spot. He played all over for us. Big time special teams player for us. So he just has a lot to offer. A lot of guys can play and they don't take that stuff with them. He did, and he's very sharp, and so I expect really big things from him. I think he's going to do a great job immediately, but down the road, we're going to see Deshaun Shedd do some great stuff. He's really talented.
You've had a few players try and make that transition over the years. Is that something you kind of identify in players early on? You have conversations with just kind of. How does that process usually go?
Yeah, it depends. Johnny, it depends which guys, what situations. But when I have a sense for a guy that might really like it, might be one of those guys that's kind of the blood and the guts guys, and just loves the game and all that. I mean, I'll drop it on him, and say, you ever think about coaching, and just to kind of set the seed in the soil there, and then if they bite on it, then I'll talk to them differently. During the time that they're with us, I'll share stuff with them different than I would other players because they care and they want to hear it, and I'll share a decision-making situation or an issue that we're maybe faced with that might be of benefit to guys, just to kind of keep the conversation going. And I'm just nurturing the thought, so I don't do that as well as I like to, but I do that, and it's part to kind of keep them connected with it. This is a great game, and there's a great opportunity for guys, and we need people that can have a great sense for the game and also connect all of the right dots and do the teaching that's necessary. And so I'm trying to help them along the way.
Michael Sean?
Hey, Pete, what attracted you to Ahkello Witherspoon in free agency?
Well, we've seen him play, over the years, in the last couple of years at the Niners, and we've seen the style of play that he brings. He's got the makeup, speed, size, length, the kind of stuff that we like in our guys, and so I've had my eye on him since we first saw him coming out of Colorado, and so he's available, and we had the opportunity, and so we pursued it. But his mentality, his awareness, he's still a very young player. He's almost like a rook to me coming in. He's not, but it feels like that a bit, and we're going to teach him the first time in the program, just take him right back to the basics, and he's been really available to us. He's been here every day working out and preparing and getting ready and all of that. He's on the field with us almost every day, and so he's doing a good job in all those, and he's really bright, and so all of that, and he had some really good recommendations, from coaches that have worked against him and all that as well, and that had worked with him, so everything just led to it's a good opportunity for him.
Is he the only veteran DB there now?
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
Big Art?
Pete, the NFL offered some good news over on Wednesday about vaccination rates. You guys were among those that are the 30 clubs that are above 85%. How close are you guys to complete 100% as far as you know? And did you have to close any deals on persuading players of the virtue outside of the team Zoom meetings?
I have been in the conversation since the whole vaccination thing got underway with our players, trying to educate them and introduce them to ways of looking at stuff and perspectives for the guys that are in question, that had questions. I don't know what our numbers are right now, but I made a pitch again today to our guys so they're aware that the time frame that's left in the summertime before camp starts, we'd like everybody to be vaccinated before we report to camp, just to make it as safe as possible for everyone. Yeah, I have had some. I've had some conversations with guys. We brought in Vin Gupta, came in and talked to our guys about it and gave a real big pitch. And we've had some opportunities for the families also to get vaccinated, just to keep the message alive and keep it moving. And so we got a ways to go here, but our goal is to get everybody vaccinated before we start them up.
Do you think that's going to have if anybody remains unvaccinated? Is that going to be a matter of personnel decision-making about how to deal with that individual? Everybody else is free of masks and the protocols that have been a part of things for the last year?
I'm not sure where you're going, but no, it's not going to have anything to do with personnel decisions. This is an individual's decision to make. There's a team opportunity, to sometimes, it takes other elements to motivate you to do things. And in this case, we would like guys to do it for everybody around them as well as themselves, as well as their family, as we've been talking for a long while. But it's not going to determine a guy's making and not making the football team. But it will. It does, as we are all those of us that can use the experience, it does change your mentality, and it does adjust how you're thinking, and there's a freedom to it that is refreshing, and there's a sense of confidence about it that is, kind of just supports your work and your interactions with the guys around you. So we'll do the best we can, and it's important that we get it done in all directions.
Nico.
Thank you. Hey there, Pete. I was wondering, with such big pieces from your cornerbacks that departed from last season, how much more pressure does that put on a rookie like Trey Brown to just kind of get the defense real quick? And what would you need to see out of a rookie like him to be a starter, a good starter for this team?
Yeah, I don't know if he feels the pressure of it, that other than he's trying to make this team, and he didn't come here to back up. He's come here to play. And so he's up against it, as all the young guys are, to catch up, to get comfortable, to get themselves to the point where they can operate in a player's mind, where they can play freed up and confident and sure of what they're doing and what's expected of them, and we can count on them. All of that has to happen. So he's a hard-working kid. He's got a good mind for battling and competing, and he's after it. So what he has to do, he's got to show well in camp, and he's got to show well in the preseason games, to see if he get to be a starter. He'll get a chance. We're going to take a look at him. We won't see him, and we want to make sure that we can get a good evaluation of him. So, but he's got a lot of elements that he's again. You hear me constantly coming back to the chip on the shoulder. He's one of those guys. He's got a mentality about it, and he's tough, and he wants to prove it, and so that's getting you going in the right direction. And so we'll see how he battles.
Tim?
Pete, some teams around the league have sort of negotiated the off-season workouts with their players. Some are obviously, like you guys, doing virtual OTAs. Some are doing away with mini camp. Do you still intend to have your veteran mini camp in June? Do you expect your veterans to show up? And what were those conversations like with your veteran players in sort of determining what the off-season schedule would look like?
Yeah, our activity is going to pick up as we get closer to minicamp. We expect a pretty darn good attendance in minicamp. There's a couple of guys that have some special situations, but for the most part, we expect our guys to be there. The week before is a really important week as well in preparation for it. So we'll see more guys coming through as we get to that to the middle of June there. And so so the conversations have been, open. I've talked to a bunch of guys. I've talked to our representatives. I've talked to Bobby and Russ for sure, and so we're communicating on a good level about it. So it hasn't been a negotiation. It's been a conversation about it, and we're kind of partnering in this thing to put it together so we can get what we need to get done. Right now, what we're doing is we're preparing to get ready for camp. That's what this is, and it's a voluntary time for us to take advantage of our opportunities. And I love the way our guys are learning. I know where they're going to be mentally based on what we did last year, without any off-season work. And so anything that we get done here will be a bonus to that. And we plan to do this really well.
Masvita.
Yeah. Hey Pete, just wondering if you could talk about the running backs that are there, like who's there and what have you seen from them?
Yeah. Well, Josh Johnson has done a nice job. Travis Homer's been in for some time, has not been working a lot on the field, but he's been in. DJ Dallas is here with us. Who's our other kid? Oh, yeah. BJ Emmons is here. He's banged up a little bit, not doing too much work. But those guys are doing a nice job. And, they're learning. There's very little of this that you can evaluate a running back on other than, doing things right, assignments right, and catching the football. And our guys are all fitting in well in that regard.
Curtis?
Yeah, Pete, I know it's still early working through the new offense and such, but from your little bit of time doing so and working with Shane, what do you think is going to be the biggest change and shift for your guys to have to come along and learn and adjust to in the new kind of vision you see? Well,
there's a sense of continuity to it that Shane brings that I'm really excited about, because things fit together and really in a connected fashion, more so than I've seen us have in years past in the design of it. And with that, Shane also brings a real eye and an intent on tempo and utilizing tempo in different areas, different aspects of our game, which is something we've always liked to implement with Russ, and Russ has taken to it as well at this point, and so we're off and moving, and so I like our tempo. I like the variety and the mix of how things fit together, and continued emphasis on the way we mix run game and pass game and make that complement. That's really those should be, as you see us develop over the coming months here, you'll see that show up, and there's no doubt that it'll be part of our game. And with that, we've got some really exciting players, that we get to feature. Chris and Rashad back there running the football, and with Dis and Gerald Everett at the tight end spots, and the upcoming Colby Parkinson. There's some really cool things that we can do there with those guys, and we love our receivers. And so the guy who has really made a nice first impression for us is Dwayne Eskridge. He's done a nice job so far, and it looks he's an exciting addition to the competition. And so all that stuff, Shane's working to take advantage of and position guys and situate them so that we can utilize those guys. And it seems really comfortable and natural as it's coming about. And so there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. The guys up front, they're already in tune with the emphasis and how we're doing some things. I don't want to go too far into it, but the way we're doing some things with them in the run pass game, it's going to really help them, and they're going to be a big factor for us. I think we're going to just be improved in all aspects of it, and it looks like it's you got to wait and see. But I'm really fired up about it.
Well, he started it, and now he's going to finish it. Bob Condotta.
Bring it on home, Bob.
Hey,
Bobby
Pete,
Condotta.
Yeah. Well, this will be. KJ Wright remains unsigned. Is the door still open for him to return at all, or are you sort of closing the page on KJ at all, or?
No, the door is still open for players. We're still working at figuring out the roster and how it's going to go. Until we get on the field and can see how things are starting to come together, there won't be major changes in what's going on, because we're pretty committed at this point. That doesn't mean that we're not tuned into all of the options and the opportunities that are out there, because we are. But KJ's okay at this point. He's doing fine, and if we get a chance to call on him, we'll go after it, and we'll see if we can put something together.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
See you.
See you.
Have a good break. All right, what do we got?
up, y'all?
I'll call on the first one. All right, guys. Johnny Boyle, you want to get us going?
Sure. Just wanted to get your thoughts on coming here. You know, the decision on free agency and what made Seattle a good fit for you. We haven't really got a chance to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I think first and foremost was just the familiarity with the actual location. They were a team that was interested when I was coming out of college, so I took a pre-draft visit here. And I had just been in this environment, been around Coach Carroll, been around the coaches. And so it was just, that was like the start of it. And then secondly was being close to home. I'm from Sacramento, so being with the 49ers was a luxury. And then lastly, I think the system, I think I can play ball in any system, but it's convenient to be in a cover 3 system once again, around coaches that understand my length and what it does to a game, and just kind of culminated in all those positives, and it was kind of a no-brainer for me.
Corbin?
Hey, Akello, welcome to Seattle. You obviously coming here, you just mentioned the relationship you had pre-draft with the team, but how important, a lot of veterans are staying away from OTAs. Mm-hmm. How important was you joining a new team to be out there this early in the process, and what's that been like so far on the field, getting to work with Carroll and the staff? Yeah, I've been rehabbing a knee injury right now, just a very minor procedure, so I haven't been out there actually participating in any of the on-field activities, but just to be around and have my face be seen every day, talk football with Coach Carroll, with my DB coach, Coach Dre, and then I just started working on the field as well, so just kind of talking ball in front of them and just hearing the way they coach and building those relationships with Ken Norton. Stuff like that is stuff that you can't make up or can't get it when you're at home, just being on Zoom. So it's been very helpful, and I'm glad that I made that decision because I'm already reaping the benefits just in the last 2 months, as well as being healthy and being around the best training staff, the best athletic staff as well, just to make me complete when it's time to get going.
Michael Sean?
Hey, Kello, let me know if I have this right. Does your dad tell you that you suck before every game as a means of motivation?
Nah, I mean, it's more like after good games, honestly, good practices. Whenever I tell him something good from the day or after a good game, it's just like a humble reminder to stay diligent, stay grounded. And that's something that he's always been consistent on growing up. Always been my coach in all 3 of my sports that I played growing up. So it's just kind of our deal. It's like no one really cares about what you do well, just do better. And I think when you have that mindset, it just continues to push you to strive to be better person, better player.
When you signed with Seattle, you said keep that same energy. I think it was on social media somewhere. Do you feel like the energy is not where it needs to be in terms of people assessing how your first 4 years in the league have gone? Yeah, no, I mean, it's just the world of this game. There's a lot of confusion, I think, about my talent, and that is what comes with this business. And I have the job and I have the role to straighten people up, and that's what I plan on doing. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Jen?
You mentioned watching this defense coming out of college, but how much did you watch the Legion of Boom, and what part of your game, if any, did you try to pattern after those guys? Yeah, that was definitely a big part of my football savvy, I would say, growing up, just watching Sherm, watching Cam, Earl, Shed, Browner, just that energy that they brought to the game, and just understanding that it's not only about being talented, but bringing passion and bringing energy and inspiring the men around you. And I think that group did it better than any, and that's one of the reasons I was so interested in coming to Seattle out of college. If you asked me where I wanted to go, it was Seattle, just to kind of replicate that to the best of my ability, as well as the technical aspect and the football savvy that all of them had, and the approach to the game.
Curtis Crabtree?
Hey, Calno, it seemed like in San Francisco you had some great highs and some maybe not so highs. When things were going right, what went so right for you? And then maybe on the opposite side of that coin as well, when they weren't clicking for you, what do you kind of see happening in those moments? Yeah, I think when I was healthy, I was the best corner in the league, and I'm not going to settle for anything else. Just when I got injured, I had 2 bad injuries.
that no one really knows about or cares about, and it's not my place to make people care. But you go out there, you fight, you push through, and if you're not at the best of your ability in this league and you're not healthy, it's difficult to stay at that level that it takes to be all pro, that it takes to be a Pro Bowler. And so I'm just extremely excited right now just to be healthy, clear-minded, in a new environment, and I'm just very excited to put that on tape.
Joe?
Yeah, Akello, can you share maybe what those injuries were, and what years?
I don't know if I can, honestly. I mean, it doesn't matter. I appreciate your question, but it doesn't matter. I'm here now, I'm healthy, y'all gonna see.
You had a fun matchup late in the year, well, a couple of them, but late in the year, I think especially against DK. Is that something you're kind of looking forward to in camp of having matchups against him and Tyler Lockett and getting you ready for the season?
Absolutely. You want to compete against the best in practice. Helps the game become that much easier. And I think that was another part of my decision was just being around Russ, being around DK, Tyler. Those are great competitors, great players, and when you can get that experience and get those reps in practice, it has no choice but to make Sunday easier.
And then, so just gotta ask it. You're staying in the NFC West. Is there any satisfaction of being in the NFC West?
Absolutely. I mean, playing teams that I've seen 2 times a year for the last 4 years is extremely convenient, as well as staying on the West Coast for my family. And then lastly, playing against the 49ers to fulfill y'all's idea of a rivalry or whatever. So it's fun and it's all competitive, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Thanks, Kelly.
Art?
Michaela, what, if anything, did you hear from Richard Sherman about playing in Seattle?
I called him about the decision, actually, and just kind of wanted to know what the culture was like. He said it would be a great fit. He was excited for me. Just very simple stuff, just stuff that I kind of have already heard, but I just wanted to confirm it from somebody that's been here. And he was very helpful and just encouraging for me to make this decision.
Bob?
Yeah, Carlo, you mentioned Seattle's defense in the cover 3 you thought would be a really good fit for you. I guess what is it about that, your sort of your skill set and the way they do things that you think really fits well?
Yeah, I think press and the length that it takes to play cover 3, playing out there on the island by yourself, it's important to be long, be quick-footed, stay on top, and the ability to catch footballs in the air. So those things, and as well as being smart and seeing routes develop and understand when it goes from zone to man, because that's the essence of this league, is it's zone until the ball's snapped, and then within 2 seconds you got to decide who's your pickup and go make plays. So,
Masvita?
Yeah, you've talked a little bit about this. I'm wondering just how you've learned about this being a business each year.
Mm-hmm.
Now your 5th year, you've talked. What are some of the things you've learned about this being a business in terms of just being in the NFL?
Yeah, I think the ups and downs of my career with San Francisco were just a great indication of the nature of this league. It just takes consistency, and it takes a consistency and a commitment to yourself more than anything. And when you finally grasp that, you understand that the daily opinions, the news, the noise, it doesn't really affect your daily approach if you don't let it. And that's kind of the one of the biggest things that I took from my time there, and I'm extremely grateful for all those growing pains because I did not forget them, and I get to keep them with me and continue to grow as a person and as a player.
And then your ability to learn, like reaching out to Richard Sherman, just talk, where did you get that trait, to reach out and, and do your homework and those kinds of things?
Just being humble and just never acting like you know it all and like you've arrived and stuff like that. It doesn't do you any benefit to stay stagnant where you're at, always being comfortable learning, always being comfortable growing. And I think I've had great leaders that have showed me the importance of asking questions, showed me the importance of reaching out to people that have done it before you. And when you see that and you see the type of success they have, you have no choice really but to add that to your repertoire. And it's always been something that I've had naturally, just being inquisitive, being curious, staying curious. And just the growth that comes with that. Once you get into that, it grows like wildfire. You want to keep learning more, keep understanding people more, keep learning the defense more, and it just makes you more complete as a player.
Tim?
Hey, Cole, being that you watched Seattle's defense so much when you were in college, as you said, what was it like to get a chance to play with Richard in San Francisco? And maybe what were some of the things you learned from him that maybe didn't stand out when you just watched film, but you had to be alongside him on a day-to-day basis to pick up those things?
So first, watching, I think, in college was just about the energy and the passion, and how you can bring a group of men together just by being consistent and being extremely competitive. And then playing with him, I think the biggest thing I got from him was just that confidence, just to show up every day and know that you're there for a reason and that your technique and your hard work and your effort is what gets the job done, and not making stuff up. Just go out there, read step, stay on top, and make plays.
Again, so lucky he started it. Now he's going to finish it. John Boyle, last question.
I had a non-football one. I want to hear about the family musical talent. How much of that passed down to you? I've heard you play the drums and sing, maybe.
Yeah, I can sing, play the drums. I can write music. Got it from my grandfather. My dad can sing, write music. My sister can write music, sings as well. So we're all very talented and enjoy just that space and that peace that comes with singing and creating.
You still do all that? You stay involved in it?
Oh yeah, I got to. Yeah, it keeps me sane for sure. Every day in the shower, free time in the off season, stuff like that.
You got anything you want to sing now before we close this out?
I wasn't going to put him on the spot, but that's
no. Y'all can't get that. That's private.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John, can you describe your last week from Renton back to West Point, back to Renton?
Yeah, it's been an awesome week personally, and I think for our team as well. We've just been getting after it and doing the best we can to improve every day. This past weekend, it was a blessing to graduate from West Point and to be able to go out there, not miss any football, come back and get right back to work. It was more than I could ask for.
Did you walk across the stage and salute and all that, or were you at the seats?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I walked across stage, put the uniform on, and I did it all.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Bob?
Yeah, John. Excuse me if this is sort of a naive question, but what is your commitment with the Army? Do you have any more, or are you available to just start playing NFL football immediately, or how does that work now?
So the policy that's in place right now, it basically allows us to play in the NFL immediately after college. We had two guys from this past year, Cole Christensen and Elijah Riley, that are both in the NFL right now, and they came out with the same policy. That's still in place, it allows us to play immediately, and I think it's a great opportunity for both parties, and I'm certainly going to do everything I can to represent West Point and the Army to the best of my ability.
And then how are the Seahawks using you? I mean, positionally, is it similar to what you did at Army, or are they asking you to do something different? Or?
It's similar. The defensive scheme is a little bit different, and there's definitely some nuances, but I'm playing off the ball linebacker, and there's a lot of similarities just between, even though it's we played a 3-4 in college and we play a 4-3 here, there are still certainly a lot of similarities, and I've been able to get the hang of it really well. Just a big thanks to John Glenn and our defensive coaching staff.
John Boyle.
Yeah, I guess just how much, maybe a couple of years ago, was this even a dream in your head? Because you weren't starting for Army till your last year, correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, was this even in your head at all, or were you just looking to your future at the Army?
I tried to balance everything the best that I could. I think just since growing up, I've always been, football's been everything to me. And when I went to West Point, obviously the military was really important to me, and academics were really important to me. So I try to find a good balance between everything, and I certainly didn't put the NFL. I didn't, that wasn't my main goal, but at the same time, I was going to be ready if the opportunity came, and since it has, I've taken that and run with it, and like I said, I'm just blessed that I was able to graduate from West Point, and there's a policy in place that allows us to represent and play in the NFL as well.
I know he's not on the field with you right now, but when Bobby Wagner is in here, how excited are you to learn from future Hall of Famer at that position?
I'm really excited. I think he's a great player, and he's someone that I've been watching for the past 10 years. So to actually, once we do get on the field with him and be in the meeting room with him and ask him about everything that he's been through and just little tidbits that he can give me, I'm very excited and looking forward to working with him.
Jackie.
Hey, John, welcome to Seattle. What has this whole process been like for you and just your time here in Seattle?
It's been amazing. And, graduating from West Point this past weekend, as I mentioned at the beginning, it was a blessing. And I'm very excited to close that chapter of my life. And since being out in Seattle, it's been nothing but great. And I love the organization. I love the guys around me. And I'm really looking forward to the future.
What's been the biggest transition for you coming up here?
I think the biggest transition is just learning another defense and playing a little bit of a different role as an off-the-ball linebacker. So, certainly got my head wrapped around the playbook and trying to get better day by day, just continue learning.
Masvita.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about Bobby Wagner, but you said you've watched him for 10 years. What stood out for you initially and then for you to continue to follow his traits? I mean, what was there for you?
I think it's changed now that I see things from a footwork perspective, and I can actually understand the plays that he's ran. Seeing things from this new perspective that I have in Seattle, and being able to watch his footwork, and just he's a master of technique, and he knows exactly what to do every play, because it's not just what his assignment is, it's also anticipating what the offense is going to give you. And to see Bobby do that, he does a great job. That's why, as you said, he's a future Hall of Famer, and to be able to learn from that is going to be awesome.
Bob.
Yeah, sorry to ask one more, but right after the draft, did you have a lot of interest, a lot of phone calls, or or was Seattle sort of an easy pick for you there, or how did that process work?
Seattle was a pretty easy pick. I had some interest. I think there were a good amount of draft possibilities. I tried not to get my hopes too high, just the way my college career worked out and everything. But I would say the draft process went really well. I was really excited for draft day, day 3 specifically. And, when it came to the end of Seattle's picks, Coach Glenn reached out and he said, look, man, if you don't go here in the 7th round, we really want you out here in Seattle. And, that was good to hear. And it was a validation of everything we had talked about throughout the whole process, because they had been steadily interested. And, to end up here is truly a blessing. I'm so thankful just to be out here, because, throughout the whole process, they were very interested, and they were up front. They didn't lie, and I'm very happy to be in this organization.
All right, last one for Greg Bell.
What have you heard from the West Point community, maybe the SOUP or the Commandant or the Army leadership about your question?
Oh, everyone has been very, very supportive, and I think that's just a credit to the way that things are run there. We have great leadership at West Point, and very thankful to have gone through the academy and been able to work under, the superintendent and the commandant and everyone that's out there, because they've been fully supportive of me, and and Cole from last year, and Elijah from last year, and Brett Toth a couple years ago. So everyone that's making this next step, we get a lot of support from West Point, and I think it's great for all of us.
All right, John, thank you. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.